Is it the duty of hospitals and other public buildings to show a portrait of the King? 0207 862 2222 is the number to give us a ring. Less than 3% of hospitals have applied for a free portrait of King Charles that they're entitled to under the government scheme. Just 40 out of more than 1,400 hospitals took up the offer. Now, the portrait isn't very popular in the world of education either. Less than a third of schools and just 7% of universities wanted one. Now, the scheme, by the way, I should say, cost the taxpayer about £27 million. Sorry, £2.7 million. 27 million would be extraordinary. But just look at it. Here we have one. Maybe you think that that's money well spent, but maybe you think that all public buildings should show their loyalty to the King. James, where do you stand on this?
Well, we have a monarchy, and I think when we think about whether or not you like having the monarchy or not, you can think about the alternative. And if you look at what's happening in countries around the world where there is an alternative and where you now see elections basically for your president instead, I think, frankly, you would probably conclude that maybe the King that we have and the work that they do is slightly better. But I also think, given how many hospitals and how many schools use the royal name or moniker or something else, I do think that it's something. Should they automatically take it? No. Is it perhaps because, perhaps the nation is less enamoured by the idea of a monarchy than perhaps they were? Maybe, but I do think it's important. It's been paid for.
Can you just shut up now, because I've really got to go and kiss the King. I'm sorry, but... Oh, he fell over.
Yeah, even he moves away when you do that.
You know that pin the tail on the donkey?
When you do it to the King, that's so disrespectful. Off with the head. Take it to the tower. Seriously, I've never seen anything like this.
No, but I'm sorry.
You're so disrespectful.
I know, but he's so kind of frail.
You're such an attention seeker. You'll do that. Look, it's just so you can get the clip on the socials.
That's the nearest I've got to him for years. I haven't seen him since I was a child.
I felt like that was a Jerry Halliwell moment there.
It was fine.
Oh, no, that's actually off to the tower.
No, it's not.
I feel slightly ill.
Oh, don't be like that.
Let's get back to the topic.
Disrespectful.
Yeah. Public buildings, should they have a portrait?
Not one that's been kissed by her.
Can I take that home?
You're more than welcome.
You're going to stick it in your lavatory?
I've got to say, the state of our public buildings, the crumbling walls saga, this is going to cover up a mouldy patch, isn't it? That's the truth. I can't believe that more people haven't taken up the offer. You get a lovely free frame. It's worth £132, the whole package. So if the King falls out of fashion, etc., you can always put another portrait in the middle.
I think that would be treason to take the King out and put somebody else's portrait. It's
extraordinarily short-sighted. It just shows how hard-working our public sector is, that they haven't had time to realise what's on offer in their inbox. A lovely picture of the King, rather than pin a tail on the donkey, plant a kiss on the King.
Would you prefer, though? Look, do you, for all its faults, and we all can see the faults within the monarchy system, but would you prefer to have that kind of Republican system? Yes, we can vote, but could you...
No, I don't want a Republican system. No. You know I'm monarchy light. I think they're deeply flawed, not them specifically, not the family.
The system is a bit.
The system is a bit flawed. It needs to be,
shaken
at the top and get some money out of the tree.
But you wouldn't design it.
No, but it works, and it's titular, and it's a bit like a Christmas tree. It's a little bit of froth and bobble, and actually...
I think he's done an amazing job.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if he's done that much of an amazing
there you
job.
were banging on about the environment. He started banging on about it way before people like you did.
But he still goes in the helicopter and has 20 million palaces. I
can't work out where you stand on this, Tessa. No,
neither can I. It's unusual.
So do you think that public buildings should have a portrait of the King? They should have taken it up.
Right.
Not just for the free frame. I'm talking about an actual portrait of the King.
I think maybe it's gone a little bit out of fashion, having an old white man sitting on the wall looking down at us.
Oh.
I think that...
So it's his gender that's the problem?
That's a little...
It's his age?
There's a whole bundle,
There's a whole
package. There's a whole package of things.
So you're ageist and colourist?
I think for a lot of people, this bloke...
He's the King.
He is, and I respect that. And if I saw him, I'd curtsy or bow, and I wouldn't actually plant a kiss. But the point is, the kind of thing... When I leapt up there, and I don't think that would be... James took an issue with me planting a kiss on the King's cheek. I think if you stuck that portrait in certain universities, certain classrooms, he would be on a winning ticket if that's all the kids did. Do you know what I mean? I could see catapults, I could see graffiti. So I think you have to choose very carefully where you put a portrait like this, because we don't want it to become a target. So I think there would be certain institutions where it maybe isn't the best fit. We know young people have lent away a bit from the monarchy. If you've got an apathetic generation, don't ram it down their throats.
But do you agree, though, that if the royal name is used in any institution, it strikes me as particularly... I can understand not everybody would want it, and I see your point about it becoming a sort of like a figure of target. Having said that, but if it's a government building or if it's a hospital or a school that uses the royal name, I think that there is an argument to say, yes, have it.
All right, let's go to the calls.
Do you have to have it? You saying you have to have it?
No, I don't think...
Use your royal name, then.
I don't think James is saying you have to, but a bit odd to be using the royal title and then decide that you don't want a portrait of the king. Jenny from Hampshire, what's your view when it comes to this lovely portrait of King Charles? I should say that you would actually get a proper frame for it. We've just kind of mocked that up a little bit.
I think it's absolutely disgusting. We're all freezing. We've got no money in schools. We've got no money in care homes. Charles has got a fortune. He's got his duchies, which he hasn't paid hasn't even had to pay all his taxes. I think the majority of people certainly don't want this man staring down at them. I certainly don't. And as for having someone else in his place, that would be wonderful. I think,
Jenny, really? So,
Yeah,
Jenny, let me ask you.
absolutely.
So, say, for example, so you've got a choice between, and let's pick three sort of middle-aged white men. So you've got...
Why do they have to be middle-aged white men? The whole point is they...
Okay, all right.
Why
then you
are
can...
you picking three middle-aged white men?
Because I wanted to annoy Tessa.
Okay,
so you can have Diane Abbott puts a name forward, Jeremy Clarkson, Nigel Farage, or Delia Smith. So...
well, you're just giving me a choice of four. There are a lot of wonderful, clever, intelligent people.
Me?
In this country.
Okay. All right, Jenny. I'll be King of England.
You could elect if you absolutely needed it, instead of this.
But then look what happens in America.
Of money. And what about all the duchies where he's not had to pay his money?
Jenny,
yes.
I'm hearing the fact that you're probably not a fan of the royal family in general, that will skew your argument in terms of whether you want to see a portrait of King Charles. But do you accept the principle? Do you accept the principle?
Let me just say, it sounds like from your percentages that not many hospitals and not many schools are really wanting a portrait anyway.
And you're absolutely right. So this is what I'm getting to, Jenny, is that we have named lots of our hospitals after members of the royal family. We have given them the royal title. This is the royal whatever hospital.
The Elizabeth line. It's the latest
Elizabeth
underground
line. I mean, I'm not
line.
sure there's going to be portraits on the Elizabeth line, but maybe potentially in some of the stations. So my question to you, Jenny, that I was trying to get to is, if we have decided that we have a monarchy and we haven't done anything about that now, so we have a monarchy, we have hospitals named after the royal family, is it not proper that we would have a portrait of the king in that royal hospital?
It's not proper at all. Just because you've named something in the past, lots of things have been named in the past and people now wish they weren't, because they realise in the future they will look back at this age and think, what a load of...
But I think there's an argument to say, Jenny, there's an argument to say, if I may, that part of the reason why maybe there isn't take-up by younger generations is because we haven't necessarily been as upfront about what the royal family is and what it does, and also...
Well, we certainly know what the royal family is. We can see they don't actually have... There's a lot of things going on in the royal family.
Yes, there have, but you're conflating the personal with the institution, and the institution...
I'm not conflating the personal with the institution.
Well, you are.
I think...
You just did.
Both personal and institution is an utter waste of money anyway.
But you see, the thing is that, I understand, Jenny.
On a portrait, and I really actually cannot believe that they've got enough money to take from people, and they want to take more people. And look at the environmental things, where...
Yes, but Jenny,
Charles has been
you're missing
a forward step on that.
Oh my God!
And the Charles and his followers, so many of them have to go to these countries for, You know, he has to have so many.
We surrender, Jenny.
All right, Jenny, yes, we surrender.
We're all Republicans now, Jenny. Down with the king.
Yeah, down with the king. I mean, I thought it was difficult to have a conversation with Tessa. It makes you look
totally
uneasy.
thrashed me.
No.
Jenny is speaking on behalf of a large swathe of the country.
But that's part of the problem because we shy away from this and we won't have a conversation about, OK, if you know, understanding the monarchy and why it's there, I think we need to have a proper conversation in this nation that if we are worried about the next generation, have a conversation about it. What does it do?
All right, Jenny, thank you for your call. Danielle from Edinburgh, what's your view?
Hi. I think it would be so much better if the money just went straight to the hospitals.
But it's 132 quid, Danielle.
I mean, that'll buy some envelopes.
Yeah, I mean, this morning I got some electric shock treatment on my foot and it was retailing at approximately the cost of the king, you know, in a frame.
But it went straight into the NHS. It could pay for equipment.
But it can't. 132 quid. It's like dust. It's like the.
I think you're seeing the
2.7 million.
I think you're seeing the 2.7 million, but it's 2.7 million spread across 1,400.
It's very
hospitals.
easy to look at how some money is spent and then to sort of take it and say, oh, but look at our crumbling schools, or look at this and look at that. And I do understand, but there are so many bigger and different things. And the thing is that if this portrait isn't provided, then there isn't an opportunity for people to take it up. And I do think that the monarchy is an institution and you have to invest in an institution to make people want to support it.
Would you be opposed to any picture in a frame, or is it particularly the king in a frame?
I just think the public money, like even the king himself, could do more to raise funds for hospitals.
Or not charge the NHS for storing ambulances, potentially, which I think our previous caller was very annoyed about.
Very annoyed.
She clearly watched the programme on it. Danielle, thank you very much for your call. Vivian from Norfolk, not very many pros in terms of the portrait. How do you feel about it?
I think that people need to realise that we have a monarchy. If you don't want a monarchy, just move. I don't understand what the problem is.
Okay.
The royal, and as for Tessa, she makes most of her money from sourcing royal sources. Yes, she does. She's a historian. So I think she's absolutely unbelievable how she is. And the point for me is, yes, there's the Duchy of Cornwall, but they've worked really hard for that. And they're out every single day of the year, which most people aren't. They need to give them a break.
All right, OK, so what was unusual, I suppose, maybe not that unsurprising, is in that debate, it didn't really fall on whether you thought this was appropriate use of money. It really fell under whether you were pro the monarchy or more Republican than that. I'm not sure what you did that was so
I think
upsetting.
Vivian made a valid point. No, but she makes a valid point that I do talk about royalty, and I always think critical in a helpful way. I'm pro the monarchy. I don't see a better system for capping our democracy with a bit of tinsel and love, but I am critical. Some of its structures do need reform, Vivian, and I stand by that. So I have an affection for the king.
I'm going to say something controversial.
No, we need to move on.
I agree.
Vivian, thank you very much for your call. We have to move on. James,
I agree with Tessa.
Sorry.